Call our meeting to order. Welcome to City Hall. This is March the 4th, and at this point in time, Carrie Carroll will lead us in prayer, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Praise be to the God and Father, our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And once again, welcome to City Hall. This is our first meeting of March 2013. I'll ask the clerk to have roll, please.
Bray.
Aye.
Carroll.
Here.
Henry.
Here.
Lubert.
Here.
Mihalovich.
Here.
Pope. Prather.
Here.
Schulte.
Here.
Scribner.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
And we have a quorum this evening. Next, we have under miscellaneous agenda items, we have a proclamation to be read to the American Red Cross. If we could have Executive Director Dave Griffith up here, please. Dave is obviously familiar with City Hall and especially these chambers. Dave, welcome back. It's nice to see you on the other side of the podium. We still wish you were up here.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Councilman. It's good to see a lot of familiar faces. Some of you I see on a regular basis. One I see is my neighbor almost regularly, but real glad to be here. And as the Mayor said, March is Red Cross Month. I brought with me this evening some of our Red Cross volunteers and board members, and if they would all stand. That's exactly right.
That's right, Mr. Lubert.
Bill is on our board. Kayla Wilbers is the vice chairman of our board. Kent Trimble is the chairman of our board. And then I have Nancy Sell, our community development manager. Mike Flanagan, somewhere around here, is our community communications manager. And the rest of these are our wonderful volunteers, and so we're glad to have each one of them here. March is Red Cross Month and is being recognized in the United States and across the world. The main focus is to bring awareness of the American Red Cross and what it's doing in communities throughout the world and how we can help build resilient communities every day. The Heart of Missouri chapter serves 21 counties, and we go all the way from Dent County to the south, to Carroll County to the north, from Saline County to the west, to Montgomery and Crawford County to the east. We cover 13,000 square miles. And our headquarters is located here in Jefferson City. We have offices in Columbia, in Mexico, and in Fulton. Just this month alone, in February, the Heart of Missouri chapter responded to 6 multifamily fires, 17 single-family fires, 2 storm clients, 35 new cases were opened as a result of that storm, and 4 were followed up on. We have assisted 121 new clients and expended $17,807.63, of which an average of $508 per case and $147 per client. In 1904, after administering to soldiers on the battlefield during the Civil War, Clara Barton, a nurse, founded the American Red Cross. It was her belief that this organization could help save lives and prevent suffering that transpires during war. The Heart of Missouri chapter has been serving Missourians since 1917 here in Jefferson City, with services in health and safety, disaster, service to armed forces, international services, and blood services. I am proud to report to you that we have over 270 dedicated volunteers who respond daily to these local disasters. And speaking of volunteers, the American Red Cross is proud to be made up of 95% of the volunteer force, meaning that all of those who are under the Red Cross umbrella, only 5% are paid personnel, making us one of the best at stewardship of donor dollars. Our volunteers train and teach thousands of Missourians every year in the areas of health and safety, disaster, and preparedness. Some of the upcoming events that we have that are going on during March is Red Cross Month in Audrain County. If you're not doing anything on Saturday night, we have a dinner auction that's going on up there. The doors open at 5 and we begin serving at 6. Our Club Red, which is made up of young professionals, they've got an event coming up here real soon. It has something to do with roller skates, I think. That's still right? Okay, we're going to have a roller skating party. You might want to check on your health insurance before you go do that event if you're older like myself. The Lifesaver Awards, this is our big event that we have every year, and this replaced what was called the Day of Heroes. And in those, we have 8 categories that we're going to be recognizing this year. The 8 categories are the Good Samaritan Award, the Youth Award, Medical Lifesaver, Law Enforcement, Firefighter, Emergency Medical Services, Blood Services, and Military. This event is going to be held on June the 25th at the Pavilion in North Jefferson City. It begins at 4 o'clock in the afternoon with the barbecue, and we'll be serving, and we'll be having the award ceremony beginning at 6 o'clock. Just want to thank all of you for what you do and for what the city does, and I'd be glad to answer any questions. If I used my 3 minutes, Mayor, or am I?
You always have a little bit more than that, since
Okay.
you're the guy that can make us give blood on impact. So, well, David, I have here part of a proclamation I want to read. It says, during 2012, the Heart of Missouri chapter responded to 174 disasters in our 21 counties. Some are large disasters, such as Superstorm Sandy, where many of the volunteers deployed. Last year, the chapter also provided services for 404 calls for our military families. And therefore, I, Eric J. Strump, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the City of Jefferson as mayor, do hereby proclaim March 2013 as American Red Cross Month. I urge everyone to continue to give blood, volunteer their time, and give generously to the American Red Cross and its local offices. Mid-Missouri is a better place where we take care of each other. When you help the Red Cross, you help Mid-Missouri. David, here's your proclamation. Congratulations, guy. And once again, thanks for all the volunteers that are here this evening also. The Red Cross obviously does a great job within our community, and I think especially since David took on leadership here just over a little bit of a year ago, we're all very proud of him and your organization. Next, I believe Nathan Nicholas has a proclamation.
Well, I do, and this is actually not on the agenda because we wanted it to be a bit of a surprise. But I think, as we all know, that coming up in just a few days, we'll be losing our fire chief, who has served this city tirelessly for 33 1/3 years. Bob Rennick has been involved with fires, as he tells the story, since 1964. I think he was about 30 in that time, something like that. Do you want it? Bill, can you start we put together a little thing thanking him. I'll just let it. We thought we'd put together some pictures from your service. He's still a pretty good drill master, I would point out. The Senator Kehoe and the Senate recognized Chief Rennick for his outstanding service. We had a nice little reception. There's his family, including his little grandbaby. course, we gave him the key to the city and represented that to him.
I think I was lucky enough to speak the other day at Chief's retirement. Known him for a long time. When I first met him, I was actually a reporter for one of the local stations, and he always gave me a fair interview. But once the microphone was off, he told me what he really thought. So, and that continues to happen today. But Bob, as I said at your retirement, you're 33 years plus with the city. The one thing that you should hold key, and I think we all have a lasting impression of you, and that is over 33 and a third year, you never lost a firefighter. And I think that's due to the amount of safety that you bring to the department and the professionalism that you bring to your organization. We will miss you, and we wish you well. Thanks for being here. Chief, once again, thank you, and thank your family very much. Do you have any comments, sir, this time?
I probably should be quiet. However, never give up an opportunity. Yes, I do thank my family. Over the years, we all knew where we were going. We were going to go as far as destiny would take us, and that ended up here in Jefferson City. Couple of things that some of you don't know. I guess I was destined to come to Jeff City one way or the other. When I was at the State Fair working on the fire department there in 1966, we were using brand new apparatus that was being loaned to the State Fair Fire Department by the city of Jefferson. The two 1966 Macs were on their way to be delivered. We used them there at the fair. I guess on my wedding night, we ate a late dinner, midnight, at Little Nell's and stayed at Roadway Inn. So Jefferson City has been in my livelihood somewhere along the way for many years. I guess I was destined to come here.
Do we have any comments from the council at all? I'd even let Chief of Police weigh in if he'd like to. I'm sure he's got to have a good story or two.
No, I really don't have a good story. Just on a serious note, fire departments and police departments don't typically get along, but that's not true here in Jefferson City. And I think a big part of that is Chief Rennick's willingness to work, to serve as a mentor, somebody that has helped me along the way for the last 14 years. Certainly, my time here pales in comparison to Chief Rennick's, and I just want to thank him for promoting the goodwill between our two departments, because the community benefits in the end unquestionably. So I just would personally thank Chief Rennick for everything he's provided to me and to our department.
Thank you, Chief. Well put. Any other comments from Councilman? Councilman Weber.
I've had the opportunity to work with the chief the last 20 years with my job at the school district, and he was always professional. We didn't always agree on every little thing, but at least it was all handled professionally, and I think due to his efforts and his staff's efforts, the schools are a much safer place today than they were 20 years ago. So again, thanks, Chief. I enjoyed working with you, and good luck to you. And I'm going to probably miss your Christmas cards. He always sent the council. It'd save your budget, but not having to mail out those Christmas cards. But
well, the wife will like that. Thank you.
Any other comments for Chief? All right, Chief, once again, thank you on behalf of the entire community. Moving on, minutes and reports filed here at City Hall. They speak for themselves. Parks and Rec Commission of January 8th and the Housing Authority Commission Commissioners meeting of January 22nd. If you would like to be on one of our boards and commissions, you can contact our HR Director, Gail Strope, or you can go to our website, jeffersoncitymo.org. Next, we'll have council committee reports. First will be Ms. Carroll and admin.
Thank you. The Administration Committee met last week. We discussed amendments to the sidewalk cafe permits. We also discussed residency requirements for department directors. Currently, many of them are required to live inside city limits, and we're looking at the pros and cons and how other communities approach that subject. We also did appointments review, and you'll see those on tonight's agenda. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on, we'll have a Finance Committee report from Councilman Sean Schulte.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee has not met since the last council meeting. Our next meeting is Tuesday, March 26, 7:30 a.m. across the hall.
All right, thank you, Sean. Moving on, Public Safety Committee is chaired by Councilman Pope. Councilman Pope could not be with us tonight, even though his twin brother was here. Filling in for him will be Mr. Bill Lubert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Public Safety Committee met last Thursday, February 28. We voted to pass on to the council an ordinance which will remove temporary restrictions of pedestrians and bicycle traffic on the Missouri River Bridge. Our city attorney discovered that there was an ordinance which restricted the activity on the bridge in a period in 1998 when the bridge was undergoing rehabilitation. So that's really not needed now, so that will come to us soon. We also voted to pass on to the council an ordinance authorizing the fire department to sell certain parts of the rescue breathing fill apparatus that has become surplus since we bought new air packs and new fill equipment. We heard a presentation from Chief Rennick concerning Fire Station number 3, which is about ready to go out for bids. And the last item was Chief Schrader asked to be allowed to file for 2 grants from MoDOT for overtime for his police officers to, one was to combat drunk driving and the other was to search out other hazardous conditions. So that's the sum of the meeting.
All right, thank you, Bill. Your next meeting is March 28th, is that correct? All right, thank you, sir. Moving on, Public Works and Planning Committee is chaired by Councilman Bob Scrivener.
Thank you, Mayor. The Public Works and Planning Committee met on Thursday, February the 21st. We had some old business, which was the bids for Mulberry Street apartment demolition. We reviewed those and voted to pass them on to the council. New business included amending code for banners on utility poles. We discussed an agreement with Cole County for joint capital improvement program. We discussed an agreement with Cole County to fund the household hazardous waste program. Discussed the yard waste compost contract. Received an update on the airport runway project. Also, the Moreland Avenue Neighborhood Improvement Program update. Discussed the Old Town budget and got a report on the comprehensive annual performance report draft, which is a report that the city has to do on a regular basis. Our next meeting, and I'm not sure what the date is. Let me look on Sean's here. On Thursday, March 21st, across the hall.
Okay.
At 7:30 a.m.
Thank you, Bob. Next, I have JCTV liaison report from Mr. Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. This past Thursday, we had the JCTV fundraiser. I'd like to thank everybody that came out for that. And first and foremost, I would also like to thank Gloria Enlow for putting on such a great event. for that fundraiser. We had that at the President's Mansion at on Lincoln for Lincoln University. Raised $2,000 at that event. Also during PSA week, additional $550 was raised as well. 22 new members signing up for that. So again, thanks to Gloria for that, and also Dr. Harris, who put some work in with that fundraiser as well. Our next meeting will be March 21st at 2 p.m.
All right, thank you. And next I have Mr. Ralph Bray.
Mayor, looking at the calendar, I was wondering, I don't have when the next conference center meeting is.
I think it was the intention to try to do that on March 18th after our next board meeting. Is that correct, Mr. Nicholas?
Yes, we haven't had a chance to send out invitations to you guys yet, but that's what we're aiming for is March the 18th,
All right.
which is a Monday night. So.
Okay, so
Right.
we'll make sure the
All right,
clerk
perfect.
gets that out.
Thank you.
Under that being the clause would be the conference center. Okay, moving on, appointments by the mayor. Any other liaison reports? Seeing none appoints by the mayor at this point in time, we'll entertain a motion to approve what's on your agenda, less the first name. I made a technical boo-boo, and I have to bring him actually up next month. So from Grant Shorthose down, a motion to approve. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Bray,
Aye.
Carroll,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Lubert,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener,
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Next, we'll have presentations from staff and invited guests, which we don't think we have any this evening. Announcements by the mayor, council, and staff on anything else this evening? Seeing none. Number 12, help me, clerk. Is this number 12 here? Okay, all these are 19? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Next we have on the agenda the consent agenda. At this point in time, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. No bids tonight over $50,000. Next, we'll move into bills introduced, and these are new bills that are up before the council for the first time for new members within our chambers this evening. First bill will have first reading of 2012-144.
An ordinance amending the code of the city of Jefferson, Missouri pertaining to charitable corporations obtaining a business license.
Mr. Hilbert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This came about, our previous licensing officer had not been charging charitable corporations a business license fee. When the new officer had taken over, she looked into this and asked me about it, and there did not appear to be an exemption for charitable corporations. So we're bringing this forward, and this would be a charitable corporation that doesn't pay a sales tax, so they're not selling an item. And I guess we're asking, the proposal would be to make those, they file the application, but they don't pay a fee. I guess that's
Okay.
it.
Any questions of staff on 144? Okay, moving on, we'll have first reading of 145. Oh, excuse me, Bob. Bob has a question. Bob Scrivener.
What kind of a fiscal impact, if any, would that have? If they're paying fees now, right?
They are not paying fees now.
They're not.
So it wouldn't have an immediate impact, but they should be under the current code. So we estimated maybe a couple $100 a year, not significant, but
Okay.
there is some fiscal impact.
Thank you.
Any other questions on 144 before we move on? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to first reading of 2012-145.
An ordinance of the city of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an amendment to an agreement with Lincoln University.
Drew.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the JCTV contract. The council budgeted $110,000 for the current fiscal year. We need to take a step to either amend the contract or cancel the contract because we don't have any more money to pay out. The current contract called for $165,000 for this year. The amendment would be to change the compensation payable from the city to Lincoln to the amount of $110,000. Plus, it would also reduce the termination notice from 90 days to 30 days. The reason for this is that as we get farther in the budget season, the council, we don't know what exactly you want to do with this contract. It would give you more time to decide that. I do understand there might be a motion to eliminate the change in the termination, so to send it back to 90 days. If that's what we end up doing, I would suggest that all we need to do is delete paragraph 2 from the amendment. And that would send it back to the 90 days that's in the current contract.
Okay. And that's for our current year, correct?
Yes, for our current fiscal year.
This year, we've already made our payment of 110.
Correct. We've made
Okay.
2 payments of 55.
Okay. Any other discussion on 145? Oh, I'm sorry, Bob.
Drew, you said that it is this ordinance would change the contract?
Well, it would authorize a contract amendment. Lincoln would have to agree to it.
That's what I was going to say. How could we unilaterally
Well,
change
we
it?
certainly could not. Our option would be we'd have to cancel the contract, give notice of cancellation.
So if they didn't agree to it, basically, we'd either have to go ahead and provide the 165 that contract calls for, or cancel the
terminate
contract. Terminate it.
And I sent that to Gloria, I think, and we discussed this at admin, and I sent it to Gloria after that. And I in her email said we probably have to know before the second meeting in March if that was going to be acceptable, only because our only other alternative is we'd have to cancel the contract unless the council wants to put in another $55,000, because otherwise we go over the budget line.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on 145? Carrie?
Are we going to make that amendment for the 90 days tonight?
I don't know if anyone's brought that up yet. We normally do that tonight or actually on the third reading?
Well, I don't. We prefer, of course, to having amendments written. I don't have a written amendment. I know there was some discussion. I wasn't asked for it. You could do it tonight. There's no particular reason to, though. It's not going to be voted on until next meeting.
Okay.
Does that
But
answer
that's
your
up to the
question,
council,
Carrie?
of course.
Yeah, that's
But I
fine.
mean-
It just sounds like it needs to be in there, so I didn't know if it's best to do that now or go ahead and give you the alert that I think some of us had wanted to do that. We had sort of discussed it a little bit at a previous meeting.
Okay. Councilman Schulte.
Mayor, at the pleasure of the council, as sponsor of the bill, I will offer a substitution prior to the next meeting to change that to 90 days.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Okay. Unless there's anything else on 145, we'll have a first reading of 2012-146.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Stockman Construction Corporation for the 300 block West Ashley Street stormwater and sanitary sewer and 700 block of Southwest Boulevard stormwater project.
Who is handling this? Mr. Matt, welcome back, sir.
Thank you. As the clerk indicated, the bill would authorize a construction contract with Stockman Construction here from Jefferson City. Basically, we have a failing stormwater system and sanitary sewer system over on Ashley Street. This would replace that. And also a failing stormwater pipe on Southwest Boulevard, which would also be replaced. Received 8 bids. The lowest and best bid, $210,728, was with Stockman Construction, and staff's recommending approval of the contract.
Any questions for staff on 2012-146? Okay, thank you, Matt. Thank you for filling in tonight. Next, we'll have first reading of 2012-147.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, changing, amending, and modifying the zoning map of the zoning code of the City of Jefferson by rezoning .97 acres from RS2 low-density residential to RA2 high-density residential for land addressed as 2611 Southridge Drive, described as part of the northwest quarter of Section 23, Township 44 North, Range 12 West, Jefferson City, Cole County, Missouri.
All right, filling in tonight for Janice McMillan, we have Mr. Eric Barron.
Thank you, Mayor. First, to orient you to the location of this request, the property is highlighted up on the screen. It's located on Southridge Drive, about a half a mile west of Veith Drive. It is a vacant, undeveloped lot owned by Mr. Ryan Pringer. Mr. Pringer is requesting to rezone the lot from a single-family RS2 district to a multifamily RA2 district. He intends to construct a residential fourplex. The lot is adjacent to and across the street from existing multifamily uses. And there is a single-family home to the west of the lot, but this home is owned by Mr. Pringer as well. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of this rezoning at their February 14th meeting, and the bill is scheduled for a public hearing on March 18th.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Barron on 2012-147? Okay, seeing none, we have no bills pending tonight. That was all cleared up at our last meeting. What we do have are 2 bills on the informal calendar. Ms. Carroll, I'll ask you what your intentions are for 135 and 136.
Thank you. I would like to move those forward off of the informal calendar tonight, and Drew has some comments.
I was going to say, I wasn't able to prepare the amendment. Could we hold off till next meeting?
Sure,
I
we
don't
can
mean,
do that.
there's no time.
And just to give you a basic summary, the change would mainly be, this currently says submitting the charter to the August ballot for both of these, but since we really don't have anything on the August ballot, we don't want to do an election simply for these 2 amendments. So the change would be to put these on the April ballot, which still would put us in the same dilemma as we are this year, having the, if we have a primary, there's not enough time hardly for Marvin Register's office to prepare the primary ballots in time for the general election if there's more than 2 candidates. But Drew and I spoke with Marvin, and I think everything else is fine. We're just going to hold off till April, and that would be a significant cost savings to the city to wait.
So you want to leave them on the informal calendar this evening
Yes.
then? Okay. All right, those 2 are left on there. No resolutions this evening. Now we come to presentations from the gallery on other topics. And first of all, I have Mr. Lonnie Brandt. Lonnie, welcome. For the record, sir, please state your name and address and limit your remarks to 3 minutes, please.
Sure will. I'm Lonnie Brandt. I'm an assistant chief here with the Jeff City Fire Department. And on behalf of the firefighters that are here tonight and those who are working back in the stations, I would like to make a few comments about the design and construction of the new Fire Station 3 that will be discussed by you later this evening. I was with the fire department in 1976 and 77 during the design and construction of the current #1 fire station. When it opened in April of 1977, it was our largest and most advanced fire station and was considered state-of-the-art at that time. However, considerable cuts were made from the original design of the building to its final construction. Some said it was too big, too fancy, and it had too much of this and too much of that. Some had their own personal and political reasons for altering the original design of that building. Those of you that have been inside of Station 1 know that there is nothing that is too fancy, too big, or just too much of anything about it. The truth is, those cuts have diminished the functionality of that building. Now, I'm sure that we're all aware of an old saying that goes that those that do not learn from history are destined to repeat it. The new Fire Station 3 is a modern and contemporary design for a building of the 21st century and will serve as a fire station for the next 50-plus years. It is not too big, too fancy, or too much of anything. We ask that the mistakes of the 1970s with Station 1 not be repeated at this time with the design and construction of new Fire Station #3. The council has seen the report from city staff that it be built as designed. The Public Safety Committee has voted that it be built as designed. You have heard that from the E&F Capital Improvement Sales Tax, the funding is available to build it as designed. And finally, some of the original design ideas and the first drawing of Station 3 was done by a group within the fire department itself. We ask that you trust the work of the firefighters, city staff, the architect, and the Public Safety Committee and vote to build Fire Station 3 as it is currently designed, please. Now, I didn't include any of the details of what was cut out of the Fire Station 1 36 years ago. If anyone's interested, you can ask questions. We talk about that. If you want to do that in a separate conversation, we'll gladly give you some of that information. But thank you.
Lonnie, thank you. Any questions of Lonnie this evening? All right, sir, thank you for being here. Next I have on the agenda is Mr. Dick Groner.
I am Richard Groner. I live at 425 Cedar Creek Court. Last week's meeting, last week's meeting, I talked about some property I had. After the meeting, I was talking with Councilman Lewert. He said he wanted to see some plans. So here is my plan. The red property I own, the green property Green owns, and we control maybe 4 acres there, more or less. And basically, I'm talking about you're charging me every month for having some buildings that are you consider to be unsatisfactory. And I think that's an unfair charge.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
What would
Weber?
be a reasonable timeline expected to get the other properties down?
4 years, and probably worse. I just got this thing from the city about people tearing things down now have to worry about lead in addition to asbestos. There's a file downstairs, so who knows what that's going to take. Right now, the way the law is, I can more or less tear one building down a year, but they come up with a new stipulation that if I'm an aggregator, that puts me in a different position, and I don't know what that is. Before, under the rules of asbestos, I could tear one building down a year, which is what I've been doing. But now they changed the rules from saying that to saying if you tear more than one building down in some jurisdiction, you're an aggregator, and I don't know what those rules are. So I got a permit right now to tear what I call building number 7 down from the city. There's 4 buildings left there. Number 7 is my next building to tear down. But I don't know what an aggregator is, and I don't know what the lead rules are. Now, I would have tore all this down a long time ago had I been able to, but, you know, I'm not my own master.
Councilman Scrivener.
What you've mentioned fees a couple of times, Mr. Groner. What are the fees? What are you looking at?
Well, the
in terms
fees,
of cost?
you arbitrarily put a $30 a month fee.
30 a month per
building, yeah.
per building.
So that's 30 times 12 is $360 a year you want from me for each building. I think that's outrageous. I'm not messing up anybody's property or anything like that.
Councilman Rick.
What do you mean they? Are you talking about the city
You, the
aggregator
city,
or
you, the
or
city, the
the
council.
EPA with regard to being an aggregator?
The
who are you talking about?
EPA sent me a letter when I was requesting a permit to do this building, and they sent me a whole bunch of stuff and said, if you are an aggregator, and by that I understand to mean that if I do 2 buildings in Jefferson City, I'm an aggregator. And I don't know what those rules said. I know what the asbestos rules, because I was living under those. As you can see from my map there are 5 buildings that were there that are no longer there, okay? And I was working under the old rule.
So it's the EPA that is not allowing you to demolish the buildings in a time frame you would like to.
I would have had them all tore down already. But that's not the issue. Here, the issue is you're charging me $30 a month for each building. And I think that's an outrageous fee. You're trying to make me a bad guy. Because some places you have buildings that you don't like. And you got, at last meeting, they read a list of why I'm a bad guy. I violated one of those rules or 2 of them or whatever. So, you know, so.
Councilman Henry.
I basically don't want to pay the fee, and I want you to say it's okay.
Mr. Groner, how long have you been getting these notices?
How
long have you been getting these notices as far as for $30 a month on each property?
Oh, it's just recent. In other words, it's maybe like just this year.
Is anyone asking you to pay back money or anything like that as far as far
I
as these
mean,
prop-
stuff that was last year or the year
Mhm.
before? Not that I know of.
Okay.
Dick, let me ask you this, was the fee increased just in the last year on those buildings?
It was created.
Okay. All right, any other questions for Mr. Groner? Mr. Scribner?
And I think you told us maybe last meeting, but I've, didn't write it down and I've forgotten. When did you buy these buildings?
Oh, I don't know, but it's been lots of time, a long time ago.
Just
Y-
an
y-
estimate?
You were looking up the paperwork in your documents and so on. I can't tell you when it was.
Okay.
I don't do things overnight. Been some time ago.
Carrie, did you have a question? I thought you had your
I have
hand
a
up.
question of staff, so I'll wait till that portion.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Any other questions of our presenter? Okay, Mr. Groner, thank you for being here tonight. Next, we'll open it up for questions of staff. Carrie?
Thank you. Drew, on the specific fee he's talking about, I was wondering if you could remind us what the purpose is. Is that just to encourage the demolition? And if that's the case, then, and if he's not allowed to by other entities, then I just wondered if that's an issue. And also, is somebody from the city working closely with Mr. Groner as far as these letters and working with his plan? I don't know, is there somebody that is?
There is, and we might just be lucky enough to have him here tonight. Ron Davenport. It's under his bailiwick. The fee was established a couple of years ago, and I think someone mentioned it was a Ron Medine bill, and that seems right to me. The fee is primarily established to keep people from sitting on properties, and not the fee, but the bill itself, or the article is designed to keep people from just sitting on properties and letting them decay. So they keep them up, sell them, or demolish them. But Ron can probably, if I put you on the spot there, Ron can probably talk about the nuts and bolts of the thing.
Well, and without getting in too much detail, what I wondered is if Ron, or if we could put this on a committee, upcoming committee schedule or committee meeting, so that we could perhaps discuss in more detail and see if that needs to be changed in cases when they want to demolish but aren't allowed to for whatever reason, instead of bringing it up at the council meeting. Yet at the same time, Richard came here to get some sort of a council action, but would this be appropriate to take it to a committee?
I'd have to talk to the chair of the administration committee, but I'm sure we can get it on there.
Sure.
Sounds like you might have an invite.
Well, we could put it on the next agenda if that's okay, and then perhaps Ron could come and make a presentation, and we can decide how we could handle that. And if you had any comments tonight, if not, we could do it at administration. I'm fine either way, Ron. Okay, thank you.
Councilman Bray?
Mr. Davenport, do you know if these if Mr. Groner's buildings, have they been cited for any code violations? Are you aware of?
Yes, they have.
Is there a history of code violations?
Yes, there is.
And wasn't the fee part of the process to try to further encourage owners to address code violations?
Well, the fee was established as the estimated cost to the city for a monthly billing process. It's $31.13.
Okay.
We'll have to establish a track record, though, to see if that is an accurate fee or not. But to our best estimates, we thought that was what the man hours and appropriate fee would be.
Right, so the fee was not an arbitrary number
No,
at
sir.
all. And it was intended to try to, in an effort to further address buildings with code violations, is what I
Yes.
remember. Yeah, all right. And you and your department have more information on this if anyone's familiar. It's been pretty well addressed, or it's been talked about a lot.
Yes, it has.
So there's information already on file that maybe you could check on. That's all I have.
Another question of staff, Mr. Mihalovich.
Maybe this could be brought up in the administration committee, but refresh my memory. It seems to me that as a council, we acted to be sure that our staff was doing what we had directed them to do to enforce the code. Seems like we were fairly direct in asking you all to go out and do that. And I believe you warned us that these notices were coming out and there would be calls we would be getting. So I think we need to reevaluate where we are with that. Do you recollect this discussion?
Yes, we thought it might be a possibility that would be a result of the notices going out.
And do I remember correctly that we as a council asked staff to be more aggressive in enforcing the codes that we had passed?
I actually believe we had a resolution to that effect, if I remember correctly. I'm sorry, Ralph?
And that was just perhaps 3 or 5 months ago.
Right. Okay.
So I guess I acknowledge the due diligence of our staff to do what we asked them to do, and I don't mind us taking it back to administration for us to see if all is what we thought it would be. But congratulations in doing what we'd ask you to do. That would be my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions of staff on Mr. Groner's comments? Okay, we'll move on to our next presenter, and this is Stephanie Bell. Welcome, Stephanie. For the record, please state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes, ma'am. Welcome.
Sure, Stephanie Bell, 136 Riverwood Drive. So I'm just here to talk about the city internship program and the recent discussion about budget cuts. So due to budget issues, it's my understanding that the city intends to cut its summer internship program for 2013. For approximately 8 years, the city has hired college students to work in various city departments, providing a comprehensive experience. The city has done a great job of ensuring these young, talented individuals meet professionals from each of the departments, educating them about the many functions of city government, and providing mentoring relationships that are important as these students start their careers. For the last 3 years, I have had the pleasure of knowing and working with the city interns as coordinator of the Chamber's Jeff City Start Intern Initiative, as have some of my committee members who are here with me tonight. And you have a handout before you, and I know you can read, so I'm going to just kind of gloss over the highlights. I did want to mention there are a number of benefits to the city of having an internship program, but there are also cost savings associated with an internship program. A quality internship program can actually save the city money in the long run. Because interns are often paid less than regular employees, there can be significant cost savings in having interns help with projects. Interns also free up senior employees to focus on projects that require advanced skills. It usually also costs less and is more effective to convert an intern into a full-time employee rather than hire an employee through the standard recruiting process. In addition, interns gain on-the-job skills and knowledge during the internship period, allowing them to begin at a higher level of responsibility and productivity than inexperienced hires. Also, studies have shown that employees who used to be interns at a company or organization have a much higher retention rate than other employees, which translates into even more cost savings in reduced employee turnover. There are also a number of benefits to our community by the city providing an internship program. So the city, through its internship program, not only supports our students, but also is investing in the community. Through the internship program, the city, 1, can attract young professionals to Jefferson City, 2, creates and maintains a highly knowledgeable and skilled base of potential employees, 3, enhances a working relationship with colleges and universities and local businesses, 4, enhances public relations through student internship successes, and 5, creates a group of young leaders who come to understand Jefferson City's unique issues and problems and stands ready to solve those issues and problems. In the News Tribune, in a July 14th editorial, the News Tribune stated, "Jeff City Start will pay dividends for our community and its residents today and in the future," and I believe the same can be said about the city's internship program. So it's my understanding that a significant investment has already been made to build up this internship program, and I would hate to see this investment that's already been made wasted by completely eliminating the internship program. Our records indicate that the city had at least 9 interns last year, and we would suggest that to the extent cuts need to be made, a reduction in the number of interns hired would be appropriate rather than a complete elimination of the city's program. The reason I originally got involved in Jeff City Start was because I've personally benefited from internships. I interned in state government while attending Truman State University, and I also interned at the law firm where I'm now employed during law school. These internships contributed greatly, not only to my decision on where I wanted to start my career, but also to my level of involvement in the community. It's my hope that the city continues to show our community and students around the state that we're committed to investing in the next generation, and that Jeff City is a great place to start your career. Thank you.
Stephanie, thank you for for those comments. Any questions of Stephanie by staff? I mean, by council, I'm sorry. Stephanie, I have one question for you. Would this program help retain some of our young professionals to maybe move back here once they get used to having a job, either with the city or, I mean, obviously what we're looking at is our city internship, but what are your thoughts on that, Stephanie?
I believe it does help retain young professionals, and that's what we do with the Jeff City Start program. Once the cities once the students take their internship, we gather them together and try to teach them more about the community while they're here. And I know the city has, in the past, has made a really great strides to try to do that as well. So let the students know, there are things for them to get involved in the community, that there are people here who are willing to teach them, that there are a lot of different opportunities. Perhaps, if the city wouldn't have a spot for them after their internship, someone with the city can introduce them to someone in the field, and that then business person benefits by having a highly skilled person who has experience already entering their business. So there's a number of indirect effects of having these interns in our town, and I think it's very important.
Okay. Any other questions of Stephanie? Stephanie, thank you for being here and letting your voice heard. We'll obviously be talking about this more in the not-so-distant future. Next I have on the agenda, underneath the agenda that came up at our pre-meeting, I believe Councilman Schulte might have a resolution under new business. Is that correct, Mr. Schulte?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. I am the liaison to the Airport Advisory Committee, and we learned that under the sequestration that has been imposed by the federal government, that we are in danger of losing our airport control tower. And so I would like to offer a resolution at the request of the Airport Advisory Committee, and I'm happy to offer this resolution, and I'd like to read it. A resolution confirming the city's support for the Jefferson City Memorial Airport, requesting removal of the airport from the Federal Aviation Administration's list of towers to be closed, and authorizing the mayor to communicate this resolution to the city's congressional delegation. Whereas the airport provides general aviation services to Jefferson City, the capital of Missouri, and the entire mid-Missouri area. And whereas the airport is an indispensable service for many businesses and organizations, making it an essential component of economic development for the area. And whereas the airport is located in Missouri's capital city and is critical to the successful operation of numerous state offices and agencies, including State Emergency Management Agency and National Guard. And whereas the airport recorded 30,553 flights during 2012, making it the 6th busiest airport in Missouri. And whereas the airport's tower has been included on the FAA's list of airport towers to be closed, and whereas the closing the airport's tower would be detrimental to the airport and the entire mid-Missouri area, and whereas the tower should be removed from the FAA's list of airport towers to be closed. Now therefore be it resolved that the council hereby confirms the city's support for the Jefferson City Memorial Airport and requests that it be removed from inclusion of the airport's tower on the FAA list of towers to be closed. So I would, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this resolution.
It's been moved and seconded. I think Mr. Weber had discussion. Oh, I'm sorry, Bob. Oh, okay. My bad. Okay. Discussion on resolution 2012-22. Seeing none, debate. Roll call, please.
Bray.
Aye.
Carroll.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Lubert.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schulte.
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Sean. And I think Mr. Weber might have an item under new business.
Yeah, under new business. I think tomorrow, the first ward is the only city election that we have. There's 3 candidates that have filed for my seat, which I am going off, term limited. So just a reminder to people in the first ward, get out, exercise your right to vote. There hasn't been much publicity regarding this election, and it's possible one person could be selected as the next council person with 50+1% of the vote, or it could go to the April primary ballot. But just a reminder, first ward residents, go out and vote tomorrow. Thank you.
Bob, thank you very much. We appreciate that, and obviously appreciate your years of service, and we'll have another couple months to send you out with a bang, so to speak. Okay, any other new business tonight? Seeing none. Unfinished business, we have discussion of sales tax and budget issues. And with that, we'll call on our city administrator, Nathan Nicholas.
Thank you, Mayor. I presented to the council, you all had sent in a number of questions over the weekend, and I presented to the council essentially the answers, as many of the answers we could get to you all. And I think that at the pre-meeting, you all had indicated you wanted me to go through these. Or not.
I'm prepared to read them myself.
What's the thought of the council? Do you want to go through them now? You want to read them in private? Okay.
I think they're fairly self-explanatory.
Okay. Is that the end of your report for tonight?
I think we would entertain the staff either tonight or at whatever point. If the council has more questions or you want us to do more research, just let me know. Certainly if you have any questions tonight, we've got staff here to try and address them. But if you think of something later in the week, we'll try and get those questions excuse me, answered and back to you before our next meeting.
I'm assuming that these questions are public documents since they were handed out this evening?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Mihalovich?
Appreciate the reports we were given last time from,
I'm sorry, Ray.
excuse me, I appreciate the reports we were given last time from Mr. Betts. It seems like we were going to get the expenses for the last 5 years. We had the revenues, and it seems like we had a few other things we were going to get.
You asked for a 5-year breakdown of the revenues and expenses, and that was sent out to all the council members.
And
it was electronic and rather long.
When was
So you
that
might-
sent out, Nathan? I remember seeing it, but I don't remember the day.
Not this Friday, but the previous Friday.
I thought there was a new one that came out. Bill says it's this Friday.
Was it this
Bill,
Friday?
if you would tonight when you get done, or as you can from the pad, would you mind resending that to all the council members so they know they have the latest one? I know you and staff have done a very good job looking into that,
Sure.
and I know that Springbrook, our new accounting software, is helping with that.
Correct. And I got sent out last Friday. We can certainly send it out again electronically, and I'm willing, I mean, if the council would like, because it is quite a lengthy document with a lot of numbers on it, to put it in paper format and get that to the council as well, if that would be helpful. I mean, so it's probably, I want to say, around 48 to 50 pages long, and just lots of numbers on there. So if that's the council's pleasure, just let me know. So.
Councilman Scrivener.
Excuse me. Bill, I do have a question about that. As you said, it is rather long. I tried to look through it, and there are a number of times in the document where numbers are repeated. There'll be a line, there'll be 400,000, and then another line that has the same description and identical numbers as, and in one case, I think it was like 3 times. I'm sure that doesn't add down and add it 3 times.
Correct. What we tried to do with the document was not to mess with it. You know, we wanted to give you exactly what's in the system so you can see the exact numbers. And what that is typically is it'd be, if it's a short area, it kind of gives you the title, then it gives you the totals, and then it gives a total for the whole fund per se. So you kind of see like 400, 400, 400 in a row. Whereas in the other areas where there's lots of numbers, you wouldn't see that repeat. So it does happen. We could certainly work on cleaning that up. It's a canned report. We wanted to give you exactly what came out of the system, so there was no typos or anything. We wanted to just kind of give you exactly what the system showed. So
As a follow-up, I think it's great, and anyone that wants to go through and look at it line by line, you've given us that opportunity. For the purpose of comparing it to revenues, I think the revenue document appears to be more of a summary document where you have grouped departments and you summarize. Is there any way, I don't want you to reinvent the wheel, and I don't want you to
Sure.
spend hours and hours and hours, but is there any way, I would think there would be a summary document which would summarize, for instance, the police department expense, the fire department, and in some major categories. Do you think you could reduce that into the major categories?
absolutely.
And then
yes.
we can always, if we want to look within it, we've got the means and the ability to look at it.
Correct.
But to compare it to revenues,
Correct. Yep, that's very possible. Be happy to get that.
if we could, I'd like that.
Rick Mahalovich, I'm sorry, Prather.
Bill, can you tell us why we never received this during the budgeting process? Because this would be good information to have.
I really can't speculate on it, Rick. I mean, I have ideas as to why, and I'm not sure. It was never requested from the IT department. So, and I think now that we're kind of there, we kind of understand some of the reports that are there and can give out the information. So beyond that, I can't speculate as to why the information wasn't given out.
I'm sorry, Carrie. Carrie, they're saying your mic's off. I'm sorry.
Sorry. I wondered if you could summarize the two presenters we had tonight were concerned about cuts in the fire department and the city's intern program. Could you go over specifically, or is it in this document, those specific, what are the cuts to the fire department building, and what are the proposed new fire station and the cuts to the intern program, or do you have those, or could you give those to us, or are they in here?
Yeah, I think as Stephanie very succinctly put it, the cuts to the internship program is 100% of the internship program. That's about $10,000, if I recall correctly. I think what Assistant Chief Brandt was talking about was not cuts to the fire department, but I think just urging you to adopt what is in the capital improvements plan, and it is fully funded, so there's no cut there. There are some cuts to the fire department. I'm sorry, I was looking for my list amongst my papers here. There's some miscellaneous things that they're getting cut, and of course, we don't know on the voluntary reduction in force, the retirement plan. We don't know how many firemen would retire under that, and so that would obviously affect their manning level. That's probably the biggest effect on the fire department.
So basically, the fire station, because I know there were some concerns about cutting back or making those changes, but as of today, there are no funding changes on the current plan. It's
Right.
as it's gone through all the committees and public safety, and no changes. I mean, changes, of course, can be made on anything, but what you're saying is there are no proposed cuts or changes?
Yeah, we put it into the the revised capital improvement plan as it was passed by the Public Safety Committee.
All right, other questions? Mr. Lubert.
I did have an opportunity to look through the line by line, the information that you presented, and saw some areas where I didn't think the budget quite matched the previous years, like the 2012 expenses, and in some cases I discovered that the budget compared to the year-to-date figures, which would be just several months, that it didn't appear that the funds would be expended if we continued on that pace or even significantly accelerated. So, but you know, those kind of answers have to come from the individual departments because they can look at, I happen to notice that copying was a item which I thought was higher than it should have been, especially since we've gone electronic with a lot of information that we need. So it seems to me like it would be profitable for the department heads or somebody in those departments to look at those items in their grouping and see if they can come up with some items that could be reduced. And then that saves, if those could come in voluntarily, it would save discussion time and argumenting time if it comes to that, as to whether or not they need that. So that would be a request that I have, is that individual departments look at those items and see what they can do with it.
We certainly will. I would say that what you see before you as the proposed cuts were developed not by me, but by the department directors. So each of them have already looked through their budgets, but we're happy to look through there some more and see what else could be gleaned out.
Councilman Lubert.
Yeah, my inspection was of the information that was sent out, emailed to us, and those I understand are actual figures and budgeted figures and actual year-to-dates, and so they were not connected with any of the cuts, as I understand.
The information we're given, yeah, is all the actual information, but 2 weeks ago or so, we sent out the staff's proposals. Nathan's giving you the correct information and that's from the department directors on where they felt they could make cuts. What you're referring to is there are some areas you think maybe even we could have looked at further, I think. And there are. I would say that, for instance, like on copying, just using that as a for instance, if you were to look in Public Works, when they start to send out their bid packs and things like that, if they're not quite there on the year, it'll get higher as the construction season goes along and those types of things. So we can't look at everything just at year to date because it kind of it depends on what's really going on in the city at the time to be for sure, because there could be some bigger expenditures coming our way yet.
Yeah, I fully understand it's not linear, but you know,
Okay,
it gives that
perfect.
appearance, and it's, you know, then that's a matter of judgment, or there are
Absolutely.
answers.
Yes, and it's certainly the department directors who would have to
Right.
give those answers. I agree.
Well, in the figures that I was looking at on the income side, we still have expectations of 10.2 million for the general sales tax, and I think we've given that up already, haven't we?
Yes, sir. The proposal from the staff is to give that up, but until the council tells us otherwise, we're not going to change the budget document until the council says otherwise.
But that led me to believe that what we have here are actual budgets and actual expenditures, and they have not been massaged.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay.
You're correct.
Okay, any other questions of staff at this time, at this meeting? Okay, thank you, Bill, for being here tonight. We'll continue this. I believe the meeting is next Monday night at 5:30. Is that correct, Clerk? A special meeting just on the budget. Okay. Moving on, scheduled reports. Any to make tonight? Okay. Next, we'll move into number 24, approval of closed session minutes. We'll entertain a motion for both February 25th and February 26th. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, debate. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Bray.
Aye.
Carroll.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Lubert. Aye. Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schulte.
I was absent.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Next, pursuant to Section 610.021 of the revised statute of Missouri, the council now may go into closed session to discuss the following items. Personnel, Section 610.021, subsection 13, and B, contract negotiations, Section 610.021, subsection 12. We'll entertain a motion. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, if I talk tonight. Seeing none, debate. Roll call, please.
Bray.
Aye.
Carroll.
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
Lubert.
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Schulte.
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Mayor,
Motion, oh,
before we go into closed session, I have an announcement too.
go right ahead.
Because I know announcements are earlier in the agenda, and I had something I want to mention, that I did receive several compliments on the city's snow removal over the last, we haven't met since the last two snowstorms and blizzards we had, and also in the downtown area, and I did get comments on the city allowing people to park in the parking garage that day, since they couldn't really navigate the street, on-street parking, so thank you for allowing that. I also had 2 comments from 2 different contractors saying that on 2 separate projects they had worked with city staff, and what a easy and flawless process that was. And I don't often hear the good things. We usually on the council hear complaints, but I wanted to share that in that department, specifically a lot of the people here that are in the room tonight, I heard some really good comments, so I wanted to pass that along.
All right, thank you, Carrie. At this point in time, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, wait a minute.
You took the vote. You were just about to
Oh,
announce we're
okay.
in closed session, and that's where we
Okay,
need to
so
be.
we're going into closed session. Adjourn will come later. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Have a great evening. Closed session will start in 7 minutes next door.